Opinions expressed by talk show hosts or callers on KWRO do not necessarily represent the opinions of the staff and management of Bicoastal Media LLC, its sponsors, subsidiaries, or possibly anyone else on the planet. From high atop the historical hall building in beautiful downtown Coos Bay, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your weekly political therapy session is about to begin. And ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the nearly famous Rob Taylor.
Hey, Coos County. Thank you for joining us on this rainy day Monday. It's exciting information going on out there. If you're listening in, you're probably tuned into a lot of the things that have been happening over this past week. Last week, we just had on Friday, the Mueller report just dropped. And unfortunately for a lot of people who were waiting to see the conspiracies and the collusions going on, it just didn't happen for you. It was very anticlimactic for you, and I'm sorry to hear that. And I'll be glad when they put the report out and hopefully maybe put this to ease. But what really should be ticking you off is that they spent $25 million on this witch hunt, and the whole entire country is going to hell in a handbasket with debt and deficit. So they're not... The Democrats, the socialists, the progressives, the leftists who are sitting in the House right now, they don't give a damn about solving our problems. Their only goal is to tax you to death, take away your guns, and impose more of their collectivist attitudes and a collectivist ideology upon us. If you're joining me, most of the material that you get and here on this show, you can find on CoosCountyWatchdog.com, or you can go to CoosNews.com. It's someplace that you can find a lot of the information that we're talking about here on the internet. And I know a lot of you like to find this stuff out because you can't always catch the show. So that's a good place and a good source to go with it. Today is a really good day because I've got a very special guest. I've got someone in here who should be required reading for most high school students. I think that we are lacking a real a balanced education that we should be getting in this country. And someone who would be balancing out is my next guest. If you're riding around in the area, I recommend highly, if you can get a chance to pull over or kick back on your couch and take for the next hour and take in a lot of the information we're about to give you, it's going to be a shock about what you're going to hear. Because recently, and this is happening in Oregon, the New Zealand, they just suffered a mosque being shot up. And during that, right now, the New Zealand government has responded by outlawing certain guns in the country of New Zealand. And they already had pretty draconian gun laws. And this is what's happening in Oregon. So I knew that this would be a perfect guest to get on the show because we're suffering right now in Oregon from one-party rule. We've got the Democrats who are, let's face it, they're socialists, they're communists. I don't even know why they call them the Democratic Party. And these people are ruling our lives from Salem, and they're imposing all kinds of new taxes. They're going to impose this new socialist utopia upon us, and they're going to have to do it by taking our guns because it's an ideology of force. Well, my guest who's going to be coming on here, we're going to be talking to him, is Trevor Loudon. He's an author, a filmmaker, and a public speaker from Christchurch, New Zealand. Now, if you've been hearing that name, Christchurch, New Zealand, that was the town in New Zealand where the mosque was shot up. And for more than 30 years, Mr. Loudon has researched the radical left, Marxist, and terrorist movements and their covert influence on mainstream politics. Yeah, we're getting a lot of that here in America. He maintains a blog on his website titled The New Zeal, and you can catch that at trevorloudon.com. And let me tell you about Trevor. He is currently working on his new film with director Judd Saul, Enemies Within the Church. And if you ever get a chance, I recommend you checking out his movie that was released in 2016, which was Enemies Within. It was a documentary based on the book that he just released of the same title. And he's also in collaboration with Capital Research Center, and that's also with director Judd Saul. And he's created a series of mini documentaries free to the public. You can get this on Trevor's website. And I've seen two of them before. I saw, and the title of this is America Under Siege, the Civil War 2017, The second one is America Under Siege, Soviet Islam. And the third is America Under Siege, Antifa. And I watched the third one because I've seen the first two before. And last night I watched the third one, Antifa. And I'm definitely going to talk with Mr. Loudon about that because I think he'd be interested in some of the things that we've got going on in Oregon and how we are now challenging the left in the streets and directly. And right now, Trevor Loudon, are you with me?
I certainly am, Rob. It's great to be on and good to be talking to somebody from one of my favorite places, Southern Oregon.
Well, when are you going to get out here sometime? I'd like to see you out here because we want to take you shooting. You know, I go shooting every week, and I tell you what, we've got M16s, M14s, we got AKs. We'd love to take you out.
Look, you've probably got more guns in Coos Bay than we've got in New Zealand now. So, look, that'd be great. You know, look, give me an invitation. I'll come.
You got it.
It's not hard to drag me out to Oregon.
It sure wasn't. And I want to thank you so much for coming when you came. It was about 2-3 years now since the last time you were here. And I still have people come up to me all the time and tell me what a great speaker you were and that it really opened their eyes of what is going on in our own United States government.
Yeah, well, you know, you've got Peter DeFazio in your area. I've been afflicted with him for some time now. I believe he has some holiday homes in New Zealand, doesn't he? I suppose he thinks if he wrecks America enough, he can go down there. But, yeah, well, my argument is that, you know, the Democratic Party has been so completely infiltrated by Marxists and Islamists and actual communists. There's probably about 100 of them in the House and at least 20 in the Senate that couldn't pass a basic background check. You know, they wouldn't be allowed to drive a school bus. They wouldn't be allowed to clean the toilets at a military base that they serve on the Homeland Security Committee, the Armed Services Committee, and the Intelligence Committee, like Mr. Schiff. And they trash the country every chance they get. And these are the enemies within. And that's one of the main things I deal with because, you know, America can never be taken from the outside, but they're doing a great job of rotting you out from the inside right now, unfortunately.
Oh, they certainly are. And in Oregon, we are seriously taking a beating. I started off by talking about guns, and I know what's happening in New Zealand right now after this mass shooting. But we've been facing this here in Oregon where they have passed so many laws that many of us, just by the type of guns we own, we're going to become criminals within the next couple of months.
Yeah, well, look, can I just say a little bit about the New Zealand situation? Because the New Zealand shooter, I've read his complete manifesto, a 74-page manifesto, and what part of the reason he did what he did and he used guns, he deliberately stated that he wanted to spur on a civil war in America. And he wanted to do that by sparking the gun debate up to ratcheting up to the highest possible level. So the left came after people's guns, and what he called the right resisted. And that would theoretically spark a civil war. So he had a strategic goal in shooting up a Christchurch mosque to spark a civil war in the United States. And the reason he wants to do that is because he's not some right-winger. He's a communist. He's an anarchist. He's an eco-fascist. What he is a supporter of the philosophies of Alexander Dugin, who is a Russian philosopher, an advisor to Putin. And what Dugin does is amalgamate what he calls the right wing of the communist movement with the left wing of the Nazi movement. So this guy is this shooter in Christchurch was a pro-Russian fascist communist who deliberately chose to do what he did to cause maximum mayhem in America. And I'm sure you're not hearing a lot of that in the news media.
Not at all. But I have read his manifesto. In fact, I was quite taken back that the government of New Zealand on Saturday made it against the law to even have that recopied anywhere in social media or in print, is the way I understand it.
I hadn't heard that, but look, that would not surprise me. See, you have to understand that the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, who's been getting all sorts of international press. You know, she's talking about Nobel Peace Prize because she's so wonderful and handling the crisis so well. And, you know, it's great that she's taken away the guns from the people, all this kind of thing. She was the former president of the International Socialist Youth. There's videos online of her saying comrade about 16 times in one speech. You know, and this International Association of Socialist Youth, it had former Communist Party members in its ranks. It had the Communist Party of China was an observer, many of the former Communist parties of Europe, many of the Communist parties of Latin America are involved. This is essentially a communist organization, and she was the International Youth President, which gives you an understanding of her ideology and why she's coming after the guns.
Right.
You know, and I just want to say the left doesn't hate guns. The left loves guns. They just want to have the monopoly on them.
Right. And you know, this was the odd thing you talk about her. And one of the things that I think she reminds me of a person in our own country is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah.
And you know,
they even look a little similar.
They even look a little similar. But the thing is when you're talking about those international connections, I don't think people realize that this is something that is being promoted not just in New Zealand or not just in certain European countries, that this is a global movement that is going across the world, trying to impose what they call a socialism, but eventually we all know socialism leads to communism. So, would you expand on this global socialist movement that's going on right now?
Yeah, there is. There is a global socialist resurgence, and it ain't just directed by George Soros or, some European parties. This comes still right out of the heart of the Kremlin, through the United Nations, through the Chinese, through the Cubans. It's allied to global Islam, and it's basically two major targets are Israel and the United States. If they can destroy those two countries, especially the United States, there is nothing to stop global socialism. There is nothing that will stand in their way. And that is why every effort from all over the world, every coordinated effort that you can imagine through the media, through Hollywood, through international diplomacy, through the United Nations, through the international media, is all directed at bringing America to its knees and causing maximum division in this country, and certainly to make sure this country doesn't re-elect President Trump, because he's been one of the few things that has actually stood in their way over the last few years, which is why they hate him with an absolute passion.
And let me tell you, we've been enjoying every single minute of having President Trump as our president. You know, I'm one of those, they say, oh, he doesn't need to be tweeting. And yet I love his tweets. I think he should, if he could do it more, I wake up every morning just to read what the president has said, and better yet, to see what they're responding to him. We just had the Mueller report drop on us. Let me ask you, what is your take from that whole thing?
Well, see, the Mueller report there's a real dictum. It's a Lenin, it's an Alinsky. It is accuse others of what you are doing yourself.
Right.
Now, the whole thing with the Mueller report was to pin this Russian collusion on Trump. So the Democrats, who have worked with the Soviets and the Russians for 60 years now, intimately,
right,
who have absolutely been in their pocket, can now come out as super patriots, so concerned about national security because President Trump and the Republican Party are in bed with the Russians. They have completely reversed the truth. They've invented dossiers in collaboration with the Russians, with a whole bunch of people involved who have deep Russian connections, defended Hillary Clinton, who sold huge amounts of American uranium to the Russians and has been selling military technology to the Russians as well. So this is the ultimate expression of Lenin's dictum, accuse others of what you've been doing yourself. And they thought Hillary Clinton was going to win and this would never be exposed. So they committed multiple felonies along the way because they thought they'd never be held to account. This is easily the biggest corruption scandal in American history. Now, about I think 10 people went to jail after Watergate, some of them for very long periods of time, in a scandal that makes this one look insignificant. In a scandal that this one makes look insignificant.
Right.
So we need to see people going to jail for this. We need huge accountability over this.
Yeah, I imagine G. Gordon Liddy is still probably a little upset about this whole deal, after seeing what he got put away for and then watching what everyone's getting away with on the side of the Democrats. And, you brought up that uranium deal. The people, we've been hearing a lot about it before the election, but it seems like now that Trump, is now president, all we get is fed is Trump is evil, Trump is a racist, Trump is bad on national media. But they're not talking about a lot of the things that happened before the election and during the election, during the campaign, where she was, basically, well, she did. They paid for that dossier that was created by that they used to go ahead and get the Pfizer warrants to go after this and start the whole process from there. And
yeah, this is far. What are we comparing this? We're comparing a cover-up of a burglary that wasn't even authorized by the president versus a massive co-option of the organs of the state to falsify information in collaboration with the Russians to destroy a duly elected president. How much bigger of a scandal can you get?
Right. And people, it's hard to get a lot of people, especially people who are, on the fence, to believe this. But, under Obama, he was using the IRS to go after Tea Party groups. And in fact, some of the groups that I was involved with here in Oregon, we were attacked by the IRS where we had to give up they wanted us to give up our membership list and who they supported, where our donations were coming and going. And we just refused. And so we know that they can basically not militarize, but arm these agencies and go after people.
Yeah, well, they do. There was an intimidation exercise to destroy the Tea Party movement. The Tea Party movement had destroyed Obama in 2010. They took the house off him. The president who could practically walk on water,
right,
the house was taken by the Tea Party movement, which screwed up the implementation of Obamacare, stopped them getting immigration amnesty. They hated the Tea Party, and they were very happy to weaponize any element of the state they could to drive them down. What Obama did and what he's done with the Justice Department, because he knew what the Justice Department was doing over this Russiagate scandal. He weaponized the FBI and he let them loose on a political enemy. Well, that is third world. That's communist state stuff. That is
right.
Third world dictatorship stuff. People have gone to jail in America for way, way, way less than what Hillary Clinton has done and Barack Obama has done. And I think, now that this report has dropped, I think now is the time for Trump to go on the offensive. And I think the American people would cheer to the rooftops if some of these people ended up in orange jumpsuits.
Oh, I would agree with you 100%. In fact, after watching Lindsey Graham on the floor today, or he was in a report today where he was talking about going back and finding out what was the origins of this whole document and where they were coming from. He doesn't, like you said, he doesn't want to bring Hillary back before the committee, but he does like to find out where they get some of this information and why they engaged with going through with the investigation. Hey, Trevor.
Well, the Democrats want the report to be made fully public, right? Well, how about making fully public all of the documents that led up to the scandal? Because that is going to lead back right to the top levels of the Democratic Party. If they want to open one, open it all.
I couldn't
agree. See where the chips may fall, eh?
Oh yeah, yeah, that would be wonderful if we could get them to agree to that. If we could, I've got to take a break and do a few commercials. Would you be all right with that? We can come right back.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and with that, we'll be right back.
Hi, Danny here at Far West Tire and Auto. Do you feel like you're constantly on the go? From daily commuting, dance recitals, and weekend adventures? I'm sure your tires have never let you down, but that much time on the road can cause some wear and tear on your tires. It might be time to consider upgrading to Nokians. With the 50,000-mile warranty on select Nokians, you can hit the road in style. So stop on by Far West Tire and Auto on Highway 101 Coos Bay. Always the right tire, always the right price.
Stop in today to the all-new one-stop gun shop, Hole in the Wall Gun Shop in Coos Bay. Your area leader in quality firearms. Hole in the Wall Gun Shop proudly features the top brands of new and used handguns, hunting rifles, black rifles, antique and collectible guns, ammo, mace, and more. Gun cleaning and repair, expert advice, and handgun safety classes for concealed carry permits are offered too. So stop into Hole in the Wall Gun Shop across from Cumillons on Highway 101 South in Coos Bay. We buy, sell, or trade.
The RV business is booming at the Boomin' Y, and Gibbs RV is looking for nice pre-owned RVs to consign or buy. Gibbs RV makes it so simple. They will come to your location, give you a fair appraisal, and help take care of all the paperwork. It doesn't get any easier than that. So let the professionals at Gibbs RV take the hassle out of selling or consigning your RV. Stop by and see them today at 1845 Ocean Boulevard in Coos Bay by the Big Boomin' Y in Empire, or check them out at gibbsrv.com.
Before you choose your adventure, make sure your 4x4 is modified and ready to reach uncharted areas. Leave your cares behind and all the work to the experts at Tom & Giggs Automotive. From diesel power to towing access, the Bay Area's top 4x4 performance headquarters will help you get ready for wheeling and down the trail. Pick up all the necessities and the I've got to have it's on the showroom floor. Get your rig adventure ready the right way with Tom & Giggs Automotive, your 4x4 performance headquarters, one block past the Boomin' Y in Empire, and online tomandgiggs.com.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Think you can't manage the down payment it takes to purchase a new home? Think again. You could move into a $150,000 home with as little as $1,500 down with our 1% down payment option. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.99%, APR 4.19%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, Jay, did I miss out? Have the rates gone up? The answer is no. Rates are still low, and it's a perfect time to refinance your home, especially if your mortgage rate is higher than 4.25%. If you'd like to lower your interest rate and save thousands of dollars in interest without starting over on a new 30-year loan, a Quicken Loans Yorgage is what you're looking for. With our exclusive Yorgage, you can choose a term that works best for you, anywhere from 8 to 30 years. The rate today on an 8-year Yorgage is 3.25%, APR 3.75%. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation for customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 3rd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
Your brain is an amazing thing, but as you get older, it naturally begins to change, causing a lack of sharpness or even trouble with recall. Thankfully, the breakthrough in Prevagen helps your brain and actually improves memory. The secret is an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. In clinical trials, Prevagen has been shown to improve short-term memory. Prevagen, the name to remember, now available in stores everywhere. Statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
All right, so I have insomnia, but I've never slept better. And what's changed? Just a pillow. It's had such a positive impact on my life. And of course, I'm talking about MyPillow. I fall asleep faster, I stay asleep longer, and now you can too. Just go to mypillow.com or call 800-919-6090. Use the promo code Hannity, and Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, has the special 4-pack. Now you get 40% off 2 MyPillow premiums and 2 Go Anywhere pillows. Now MyPillow is made here in the USA, has a 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty. Go to mypillow.com right now or call 800-919-6090, promo code Hannity, to get Mike Lindell's special 4-pack offer. You get 2 MyPillow premium pillows and 2 Go Anywhere pillows for 40% off, and that means once those pillows arrive, you start getting the kind of peaceful and restful and comfortable and deep healing and recuperative sleep that you've been craving and you certainly deserve. MyPillow.com, promo code Hannity. You will love this pillow.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, Coos County. I'm glad you're joining me here because this is a really good show. We've got an incredible guest with us. We're talking to Trevor Loudon, who is from Christchurch, New Zealand, where they had the mosque shooting. And I wanted to go back to that, Trevor, because I want to ask you, because most of us have never been to New Zealand. I mean, most of us couldn't even barely pick out any other country outside of our own country on a map, Americans and American education. But New Zealand is, not near the size of America. This has much smaller population, but from what I understand, you've had a huge influx of Muslim immigrants. Is correct?
Well, no. I think it's going to go up. I think Jacinda Ardern is going to use this as an excuse to ramp it up. New Zealand has about 1% Muslim. Australia is about 4%. So Australia is much more similar to New Zealand and has to America, and has had a lot more terrorist incidents, has a lot more problems with Islam trying to exert itself politically. In New Zealand, from what I understand, we have our militants in New Zealand, but they use New Zealand as a bit of a safe haven. The terrorist groups are there, the radicals are there, but they keep their mouths shut because this is a safe place for them to hide out and base their operations from. So, and I think that's maybe why the shooter chose New Zealand too, because it is considered a safe place, and Islam hasn't really been perceived as much of a problem in New Zealand before. So, but I think that's all going to start changing now.
Could you explain to our audience what type of gun laws did you have before this incident happened, and what's happening now?
Well, there was a wide variety. See, there's 2 aspects of it. Handguns, you cannot have concealed or open carry in New Zealand. You can have a shotgun or a long rifle for sporting use, and there's a wide variety of guns you can use for that, including AR-15s. But you have to be, up until now, you have to be a registered owner. So every gun owner, unless you're a criminal or gang member, and you'd be surprised to know they don't register.
Right.
Every gun owner must be registered with the police, and there are rigorous checks before you can own a gun. For a handgun, the only way you can get a handgun pretty much is to belong to a pistol club, and you can buy a handgun, but you have to keep it at the pistol club, which is really, really useful in a home invasion situation. Now, just bear in mind that the mosque in Deans Avenue in Christchurch, the one that was shot up first, where the shooter went on a 20-minute rampage, is less than a mile from the Central Police Station, right?
Right.
But the police did not get there until after he had left. He was able to drive 3 miles across town and shoot up another mosque, unimpeded. And the only reason he didn't shoot up more people at the second mosque is because some brave man stormed him and took his gun off him and chased him out of the mosque. Then he was arrested by 2 policemen as he was fleeing, who just happened to be in town from out of town and just happened to be in the right area and weren't even armed. So the point I'm getting at there is there really is no right of self-protection with firearms in New Zealand. And if you register guns, well, how are they going to confiscate all these guns they're talking about?
Right.
Because the owners are all registered. They know who everybody is. And therefore, they can check up. Registration is automatically a step towards confiscation. You can guarantee it.
And that's what we argue that all the time. And of course they will say, oh no, you're just opposed to common sense gun laws. And we try to explain to them over and over that if it was common sense gun laws, then it would be directed towards the criminal and not an inanimate object that really doesn't hurt anyone. And I'll give you an example of this, Trevor. I just went to a gun rally in Salem, Oregon, right at the steps of our Capitol. And even though the news reported there was about 2 people who showed up, there was about 5,000 people there and about, I would say, 2,000 to 3,000 guns in one little area, and not one person, the whole 5 hours that we were there, not one person got shot, showing and demonstrating guns don't kill.
Yeah. Look, and I guarantee nobody tried to shoot up that meeting either.
Oh, that would have been fun.
And this is my argument in Christchurch. They're taking all the guns away to make people safe. If you had concealed carry in New Zealand, that guy walked in there wanting a big body count for maximum publicity. If he knew he was walking into a place where 5 or 6 people were likely carrying handguns and would shoot him down before he got 3 or 4 people dead, how do you think he would have done it?
Oh, no way at all. I mean, these guys are looking for advantage.
This is it. The safest places are the ones where guns are most readily available.
Oh, absolutely. And what we've now have gotten in Oregon, I don't know if you've heard about these red flag laws where they...
Yes.
Yeah, yep. It's really bad now. They can, where, my brother-in-law, who's a real jerk, he doesn't like me one day and all of a sudden can report me to the police saying that I may be a danger to myself or someone else, and all of a sudden they can come in and take my guns, and then I have a certain amount of time to prove myself innocent. So,
well, which flies in the face of all jurisprudence, of all, right to, to be proven innocent, to be proven guilty. Look, the left wants America's guns, and they will tell any lie, they will make any deception to get them, because they know if they can take America's guns, they can control this country. And so do not believe a single lie they tell you. What do they not understand about the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed? How much plainer does it have to get?
Right. And, I always agree with you. I would agree with you that the left is usually the biggest antagonist on trying to disarm the civilian population. But we just had the president do a presidential mandate where he went after the bump stocks. That was just a little bit odd for us, and we were a little bit taken back by that. But why do you think the president, who says he supported gun rights, would kind of strike out at his base and do a mandate going after gun rights?
I think it's the same reason he passed the Next Step Act, and the same reason he talked about a paid parental leave. He's got people around him who just like to do socialist things, and they slip things past him. They gull him, I don't really think he's got so much on his plate. Sometimes I think these things get slipped past him. Simple as that, and he goes along with it because he probably doesn't have the understanding of the Second Amendment that maybe you'll have.
Right.
But, he's at heart a patriotic conservative, but he grew up in New York, He didn't grow up in hunting, elk in Oregon.
Right.
Or serving in the military. So he probably just, gets a little bit gulled by some of these things, to be honest.
And I agree with you. Sometimes you see that he has surrounded himself with people who, including his own family members, his daughter, who, like you said, wanted that, leave for women who are having children and stuff, or extend the leave. And of course, we're looking at him going, wait a minute, that's a Democratic policy. And sometimes I think maybe he's trying to do that to, appease the women vote and get that, demographic. It's something that I think even the Republicans, they're playing politics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. But I bet you it wasn't his idea. It was his daughter's idea. And, look, Trump's not a perfect, but, I don't agree with everything Trump does.
Right.
He was not my candidate. I'm real glad he's there. I want to get him reelected. But we can't be blindly, we can't be blindly thinking that everything that comes out of the Oval Office is right. We've got to stand up against the things that aren't too,
And plus, it'd be very hard to say no to Ivana. I'm just,
Well, that's another factor, Trump, I understand that.
Hey, I gotta do a couple of more commercials, and then we got a contest. So if you would hang on, I'd like to get you back on after this. Would you? Could you wait for that?
Yep,
Great.
For sure. Yeah, for sure, Rob.
Anyone who knows anything about my show knows that we have a giveaway for each hour of the show. And this one on the first hour is for McDonald's, the happiest place in the world. We've got 4 of those in our county. Well, actually, we got 3 in Coos County. We've got 1 in Reedsport, and you can get one at Walmart. There's 1 in North Bend, and there's 1 on Coos Bay on 101. And if you want to win a buy one, get one free sheet and 1 free dessert of your choice, 1 free breakfast sandwich of your choice, or 1 free McCafe beverage, all you have to do is be the 3rd caller at 541-267-2124, and we'll be right back.
Looking for a new or used firearm? You should get to know the friendly folks at World Pawn Exchange. Located at 1980 Sherman in downtown North Bend, World Pawn Exchange buys, sells, and trades firearms of all types. And with their extensive, ever-changing inventory, they could have just the right firearm for you. If they don't have that gun that you want in stock, they'll be more than happy to special order it for you. World Pawn Exchange in downtown North Bend, where you'll find more than you can possibly imagine.
There's no reason to guess. The verdict is in, and the solid winner continues to be Herbal Choices.
I think everyone knows why Herbal Choices is the leader.
You and I see Herbal Choices the same way, like a part of our family. They know me when I come in, and they're always happy to show me all that's new, including Jim Belushi's new harvest.
Hi, Jim Belushi here. My Belushi Farms private vault is exclusively here, Southern Oregon coast at Herbal Choices. Check it out. It's the only choice.
And no matter where you are, Herbal Choices is close by. Coos Bay, Charleston, and Bandon. They always keep me updated on their website at www.theherbalchoices.com.
No one can compete with Herbal Choices prices. They now have so many locations that they buy large quantities and pass the savings along to their customers. It's their people, friendly, always ready to help with knowledgeable answers. It's like dealing with family.
Do not operate a vehicle under the influence of marijuana. For use by people 21 and older, keep out of the reach of children.
Well, I was driving across town when my car got down, started lurching and trying to die. Well, luckily there was a shop, and when it struggled to a stop, a nice fella met me right outside. I said, "Man, something's wrong. What the heck is going on?" He said, "I tell you this, I got no doubt. You just relax and don't you worry. We can fix it in a hurry, 'cause your car is what we're all about. We do it all."
Bayshore Auto and RV Repair, your one-stop shop for all your automotive and RV mechanical repairs. Stop by and see Jeff and his friendly staff on Bayshore Drive in Coos Bay.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Thank you for joining me, Coos County. We're talking to Trevor Loudon, and if you get a chance, you need to go to trevorloudon.com. That's TrevorLoudon.com, and check out some of the free videos over there. Trevor, I was checking out that video you had on Antifa, and I really enjoyed it. I liked watching the history of Antifa, but we've got a young man in Portland. His name is Joey Gibson, and I don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh, yeah, yes. I know. I haven't met Joey, but I certainly know him by reputation. I know several of his friends.
Oh, good, man. I'll tell you what, we have been going around Oregon doing that Second Amendment sanctuary ordinance. Have you heard about that?
Yes.
Okay. We've been going around Oregon trying to do that, and he had contacted me and asked me about how he could go about doing that in Washington, because they just had a really bad gun law pass up there called IP 43. And so we've been to, about a half a dozen different counties, and 13 of them have passed resolutions similar to our Second Amendment sanctuary ordinance. And we'll be going to a county next week to do the same thing. And one of the things he does is he goes down to Portland every Sunday, and he does a prayer service where all these little ninjas in black masks call themselves anarchists, call themselves socialists. They're a little confused. And they come down there and they yell and scream and holler, and they tried to fight with them and stuff. And these guys, they won't fight, but they will defend themselves. They're great. And so I want you...
Sorry about that.
That's all right. So I want you maybe to explain to us because you're an analyst of political movements and political trends. What does that tell you when they're fighting in the streets of Portland over just being able to pray on Sundays?
Well, you got to understand what Antifa is. Antifa is well, it goes back. The name Antifa came from the Italian fascist era, the German Nazi era, when the German Communist Party started up anti-fascist units to fight Hitler. And these were the people that went onto the streets and fought against the brown shirts. And there was huge violence. A lot of people got killed and, shops got trashed and that kind of thing. And when the Nazis won, the interesting thing is a whole bunch of the Antifa went over and joined the Nazis because there really weren't much difference.
Right.
It's like one mafia gang fighting the other mafia gang. So the modern Antifa, they come out of the local communist movements and socialist movements. They're usually supported by the local labor movements and the local Democrats. And you'll find that the most violent Antifa, virtually all the Antifa problems in the country have occurred in Democrat-controlled city councils.
Right.
And where the police are usually hamstrung and prevented from these guys, doing what they want to do. And so you'll find this over and over and over again. They are the military wing of the Democratic Party.
That's kind of the way we have described them as well, as the military wing of the Democratic Party, which is odd because, they call Joey a white supremacist. He's an Asian man, which is kind of strange. Him. And he's the farthest thing from a white supremacist. In fact, he believes in individualism and the rights of the individual, and that's what he's fighting for. And I noticed in the video that you had that you talked about this. The best way to counter collectivism, this leftist ideology, is to push for more constitutionality.
Yeah, look, the Constitution was colorblind. They had slavery at the time where black people were not recognized as fully human. But that was ended at the Civil War. They had to fight a bloody war to end that. But the whole point of the Constitution is that all men are created equal under God. They're all created equal by God. They all have equal rights under the law. It doesn't mean they all have equal lifestyles or equal outcomes, but it means the millionaire should be subject to the same law as the pauper.
Right.
All equally the same. That's colorblind. That's completely colorblind. And America is the first nation in the world that isn't really composed of, an ethnic, based on ethnicity or language. It's based on the idea of liberty. That's what unifies America. That's what makes America what it is. Anybody who believes in liberty, anybody who supports the Constitution is an American. That's American values. And so that's where we need to go to get rid of this division and this animosity that the left is deliberately stirring up. They deliberately want to divide America racially.
And I agree with you because that's they put us into these pigeonholes and compartmentalize us, and then they can put those people and divide them against each other, which only serves to keep them in power.
See, the Russians who are actively involved with Antifa in some ways, they will promote a Black Lives Matter group. Then they will promote a white power group, and they'll set them against each other.
Right.
Remember the Charlottesville disaster? The so-called Unite the Right rally and the white supremacists versus the Antifa on the streets.
Right.
You had pro-Russian Workers' World Party members and pro-Russian Party of Socialism and Liberation members battling in the streets against pro-Russian Klansmen and white supremacists. Both sides were backed by the Russians. Both sides were sympathetic to Russia, but they're just trying to create division and chaos and civil war within America.
And you talk about that, and that's really what they did when they had that incident and, Trump came out and said, well, there were some good people there, which he was right. There were some good people there. They weren't part of the white supremacists. They certainly weren't part of the Russia collusion, And
Yeah.
so,
So what they now say is Trump thinks the white supremacists are good people.
Right.
That's what they say. Well, that was not what he said at all, but this is the kind of lie they tell.
Yeah, and that's why we keep seeing that division in our country, and it's not coming from the president, it's coming from his detractors who, once again, are compartmentalizing us into those each pigeonhole groups.
Absolutely.
One of the things we're going to do is I'm going to be working with Joey, and we've got the Second Amendment sanctuary order in one county who's locked in court right now because they're saying that it's not legitimate to file as an initiative, which is weird because they have the other ordinance that we passed, but they found a way to block us in court. And once we get out of court, me and Joey are going to Portland and Multnomah County. You know how liberal it is. We're going to file one of those Second Amendment sanctuary ordinance in Multnomah County, which is in Portland. And we're going to watch the riots happen because we want to stir up the action. And that's part of us trying to show that we're going to go on the offensive and we're willing to go into the heart of the devil, the heart of hell right there, because Portland is, what we call the Republic on the West Coast here.
Yeah.
And so it's something that I wish if we could get you here, I'd love to take you to Portland during one of these Patriot prayers or when we're going to do that. So we could show you up close what these guys are all about. I mean, would you be interested in something like that?
Yeah, for sure. I'm doing something in Houston, and we're going to hold an anti-communist rally in Houston, and we expect the similar sort of people to turn up. But yeah, absolutely. Look, and only do me one little favor. Don't call Multnomah County liberal. They are socialists.
Right.
They're not liberal. They are socialists. Liberal is a respectable word. They are not.
And thank you for reminding me of that because I often used to yell at Jim, who used to do this show before me, and he'd often call them liberals, and I'd say, Jim, they're socialists. Heck, they're communists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So
call them what they're not liberals and progressives. They're socialists and Marxists. Like they call us white supremacists, fascists, Nazis, and racists, and we call them liberals and progressives.
Right.
They're coming at us with hammers and knives and daggers, and we're flicking boogers at them.
Right. Right. But the one thing we do have that's really great is why we're out practicing every week to target shoot with all our military-style weapons. They can't even figure out what bathroom to use. So we do got that going for us.
That's right. But I don't ever want to see this come to violence because we can still win this through the ballot box.
Right.
That President Trump's election proved that to me.
Right.
Despite all the vote fraud, despite all the propaganda, there are still enough sane Americans out there who love their country to get off their backsides and go and vote the right way. And if those people turn out again in 2020, we could have a very, very different country in 4 or 5 years' time. We can break the back of the socialists. We can break the back of their movements, and the prosperity and the freedom that we have will just make their movements completely unpopular.
And you say a lot of the same things that I'm saying, but you sound so much more intelligent with your accent.
Well, it's the accent. The only reason my wife married me is because of my accent.
The good for her. She's a smart woman. She did good.
It's a southern accent.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I tell everyone. He's from Dallas. So where are you at right now, in fact?
Well, I'm actually in California right now, but we're living in Florida most of the time.
Nice.
For family reasons, etc. But yeah, I'm just down in San Diego right now doing some speeches down here, and then move up to Fresno. You probably know Ben Berquam, do you?
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah, Ben. Well, Ben, I'll see Ben up there. He's a good friend. And, I'm writing books, I'm touring, lecturing, working on a movie, Enemies Within the Church. But, so I'm not touring to the degree that I used to, but I still love getting out and about and meeting the old, the friends on the circuit, so to speak.
Right. And do you live in New Zealand at all?
From time to time, yeah. But mainly I'm here at the moment, and I will be at least till the next election, I think, because they always say every election is the most critical election of our lives. Well, the next one is.
Right.
Because, if Trump wins and we keep the taxes coming down, we get a greater majority on the Supreme Court, we start turning back the socialist legislation and the restrictions on the First and Second Amendment and all that kind of thing, we're going to have it. America's really going to boom. It's really going to prosper, and we'll get through this. But if we elect Kamala Harris, who's going to be their candidate,
right,
the Marxist, the complete Marxist, if we elect her, the economy's going to go in the tank, and your First and Second Amendment rights are just going to be whittled away real quick, and we're in for a world of grief. World of it.
The Democrats remind me of a clown car. The clown car that pulls up and 20 clowns get out of the car. And that's what reminds me of what they're doing right now. Now they're trying to out-socialize each other. Oh no, I want free everything. No, that's not free enough. You know what I mean?
That's not free enough. We got to go more. See, I've been saying for 10 years that the Democratic Party has been taken over by socialists and Marxists. And when I started saying it, people were going, oh, yeah, maybe, Nobody argues now.
Right.
Because it's not that they have become socialists. It's now they are so confident and so desperate for victory, they've thrown all caution to the wind. That's what it is.
Yep, and they've taken off that mask. Trevor, I want to thank you for joining us. If you hear that music, we're getting ready to head out of here. If you would you tell people how they can contact you and check out your website?
Just go to trevorloudon.com. So trevorloudon.com, and the Loudon is spelled Loudon. So trevorloudon.com, check out my daily blog site, and there's contact details there.
All right. I thank you very much, and maybe we'll have you back in a couple of months to give us an update on some of the things you're doing.
Yeah, look, it'd be my pleasure, Rob. Really enjoyed it, and a big shout-out to the people in Oregon. It's certainly one of my favorite states, and I've got a lot of friends in that state.
All right. Thank you, Trevor, and you take care. And with that, we'll be right back.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, Coos County. I hope you enjoyed that first hour. What an incredible guest. I'm someone who has lived in a place that has been in the news right now, New Zealand, Christchurch, New Zealand, where they just had 2 mosques get shot up. And, of course, that's that was last week's news, and you're not hearing a lot about it. But I'm glad I had a guest who used to live there, who knows what's going on. And even more, he's analyzed what's happening in our own country, and I think his analysis is dead spot on. So I recommend you go over to trevorloudon.com, and his last name is Loudon. You can find out quite a bit of information on him. You can find out information on Antifa, and check out his movie Enemies Within. It's an incredible movie, and it gives you a lot of information. Maybe one of these days we're going to have another movie night, and we'll have that as the premiere feature. One of you had contacted me about the city of Coos Bay, and if you don't know what's going on, the city of Coos Bay last Tuesday adopted a transportation fee that they decided to tack on to your utility bill. Now, they've been debating over this for about 6 months, and I saw that, and a couple of shows ago I was going to mention it, and I didn't get around to it because we had a lot of other material to cover. And, of course, by the time I did get around to it, it was too late because they've already passed the ordinance. However, if any of you would like to put that bill up for, that bill up for a referendum, you can do that. You still have about 22, 23 days, probably a little bit longer, maybe even 25 days left to go get enough signatures to put that on the ballot. But you have to do it. It takes someone who's going to take the initiative to go and fill out an SEL 370 form, turn it into the city's elections office, Go get the petition form, fill it out, get the petition form certified by the city. It doesn't take very long. You can do most of it in one day. And then you can get out there and get some signatures to put this on the ballot. As far as I'm concerned, anytime a city passes a fee or a fine or anything like that, that's a tax. And the city titled this new tax the transportation utility fee. Now, does that make even any sense? A transportation fee that they're going to tag on to your water bill. I mean, I think that they just already tagged on another fee for police officers, or was that North Bend? I can't remember. There's so many fees they tack on. And they call them fees. They don't call them taxes. But they're taxes, folks. Don't let them try to fool you. And the new fee for this new transportation tax is the residentials will have to pay $10 monthly, while city had really socked it to businesses and settling them with another $20 a month. And the thing is people out there get all excited because, oh, businesses, those evil businesses are going to pay more of their fair share. Well, I got news for you. Those businesses pass that expense on to the customers. Businesses and property owners who own rental properties, they don't pay these fees. They don't pay these taxes. All of that gets passed on to their customer or their tenants. So all of you out there who think that, oh, I'm a renter, this isn't going to affect me, well, I got news for you. It's going to directly affect you. It's going to affect people who go out and purchase things at local businesses because they're going to pass that fee on to you. And no, it's not a lot of money. It's only $20 a month. But that's how it starts out. It's just $20 here, $20 there, $10 there. And after a while, you're talking about serious money. And anyone who doesn't think they're paying serious money, take a look at your tax bill. And then take a look at the roads you're driving on. I've been driving around Coos Bay for the last a day or two I've been in the city. And man, you guys got some really messed up roads. And I'd be really upset with it because the city has no problem giving places like the Dolphin Theater $100,000 for the drama club. Yeah, $100,000 went to Dolphin Theater, and the city pays 30% of that. So that literally $30,000 came out of the city to go to the drama club while you're still driving on pothole-ridden streets. That should make you angry. Think of that sign they just put up out here for Coos Bay to announce you're in the city. They said they wanted to put up that sign that they paid $300,000 for. $100,000 of that comes out of the city. And guess what? It doesn't do anything as far as creating jobs. It doesn't bring businesses here. Nobody's ever brought a business into a city because they had a really nice sign. And if anyone wants to talk to me about this or any subject, you're more than welcome to call me at 541-267-2124. If you don't agree with me, please call me up and explain to me why you think you should be paying more for your streets on your water bill. I just want to hear the argument for that. Well, you're going to love this one too. The Attorney General of Oregon visited Tijuana this past Wednesday. And in Mexico, while he was in Mexico, he was a witness to the work that Al Otro Lado, I'm sure I mispronounced that, Al Otro Lado, that's the group that he went down there to watch. They're a nonprofit organization that's helping people seek asylum here in America, and they're teaching them the process that they have to go through to seek asylum. But the Trump administration has a policy called the Turn Back Policy, which they are claiming is unlawfully denying individuals access to asylum or to the process of asylum at ports of entry, because what they're doing is they're immediately turning people back and telling them just to go home because you're not an asylum seeker, and most of them are not. They're coming here for economic reasons. They're coming here to take full opportunity of our welfare state that we have going on. And in the last month, 20 Democratic attorneys general, including Oregon's Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum, filed an amicus brief in support of the lawsuit brought by Al Otro Lado against the Turn Back Policy. Because, that's what we need. Our Attorney General in Tijuana, Mexico, fighting for the asylum of immigrants who are using our asylum process to illegally come into our country. And that's what they're spending money on here in Oregon. And if you look at the legislature right now, there's probably about 30, 40, even more tax bills sitting in committees right now. And yet you've got the Attorney General visiting Tijuana, wasting our tax dollars because we paid for that. We paid for him to go down there. And we're going to pay for him to bring him back. In fact, I found out about this before I knew that he had been down to Tijuana because I would have sent a note down to Tijuana just to keep Ellen. I keep calling him he. It's Ellen Rosenblum. They could have kept her. I don't care. I don't need the Attorney General of Oregon. She doesn't seem to be doing anything for our citizens. If you're a Mexican citizen or a South American citizen who's trying to get into this country illegally, well, I guess she's doing all kinds of things for you. I wonder if she's helping any of the terrorists who are sneaking in with a lot of these convoys that have been coming up through the South American and Mexican countries. Yeah, there's been people who've been caught in these groups who are terrorists. They know this. They have found these people from many different Middle East countries. But that's what your dollars are being spent on, that Attorney General. Well, guess what, folks? Oregon ranks worst again for another study. According to a nationwide analysis, Oregon ranks worst for public records response time. Now, I'm someone who's made a lot of public records requests in my time, and one of the worst places to make a public records request is from the city of Coos Bay. The city of Coos Bay, if you've ever tried to make a records request, first they'll deny that they have the documents, and then you have to find out the exact title of the document that you need so that you can get them to give you that document. And then they want to charge you a fortune just to have an opportunity to look at something that should be free on their website. And I'll give you an example of this. I talk a lot about urban renewal, and every year dozens upon dozens of businesses get tax dollars, free tax dollars. They're given to businesses in grants, usually about $25,000 increments at a time. Well, wouldn't you like to know who those businesses are? You think the city would keep a list of which businesses are receiving your tax dollars, but they don't. And you know why I know this? Because a couple of years back, I asked for this list. An old Roger Craddock, who's the city manager over there at City Hall, I can see the building from where I'm at. I wonder if he's looking at me from his window. But I can see his office from over here. And if you ever try to get information from that guy, he's going to put up all kinds of obstacles for you getting that information, especially when it's about urban renewal or any of the more controversial agencies. But get this, Oregon ranks dead last among all states for prompt responses to public records requests. A new nationwide analysis by Muck Rock found Oregon government agencies' average response time is 148 days. 148 days to get you the public records that you request, which was the worst by more than 3 weeks. The quickest states, which include Vermont, Idaho, and Rhode Island, produced responses within 15 days on average. Oregon law requires a response within 15 days, but also allows public agencies to delay getting back to requesters for a variety of reasons. And Roger over there, the city manager of Coos Bay, he knows all those reasons, including a backlog of requests. Agencies routinely ignore the 15-day deadline. This is what we talk about when we talk about transparency. When guys like me are trying to find out information on our city and to find out how they're spending their money, we don't need obstacles in our way to prevent us from doing our job. So I hope they change the law. This is something that was a national analysis. I know that they have in the legislature some new laws that will help expedite some of these public records requests. I think we're going to go to a commercial because it looks like I'm running a little bit over. And with that, we'll be right back.
Stop in today to the all-new one-stop gun shop, Hole in the Wall Gun Shop in Coos Bay. Your area leader in quality firearms. Hole in the Wall Gun Shop proudly features the top brands of new and used handguns, hunting rifles, black rifles, antique and collectible guns, ammo, mace, and more. Gun cleaning and repair, expert advice, and handgun safety classes for concealed carry permits are offered too. So stop into Hole in the Wall Gun Shop across from Cumion's on Highway 101 South in Coos Bay. We buy, sell, or trade.
Hi, Danny at Far West Tire and Auto here. Sometimes deer like to jaywalk, or even once in a while a basketball forgets to look both ways before bouncing across the street. When those moments happen, be ready for the stop with the Michelin Premier All-Season Tire, a tire design with more performance in mind. Far West Tire and Auto on Highway 101 Coos Bay. Always the right tire, always the right price.
The RV business is booming at the Boomin' Y, and Gibbs RV is looking for nice pre-owned RVs to consign or buy. Gibbs RV makes it so simple. They will come to your location, give you a fair appraisal, and help take care of all the paperwork. It doesn't get any easier than that. So let the professionals at Gibbs RV take the hassle out of selling or consigning your RV. Stop by and see them today at 1845 Ocean Boulevard in Coos Bay by the Big Boomin' Y in Empire, or check them out at gibbsrv.com.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey everybody, how you doing today? And if you want to call in to talk to me on the show about any political issue that you might be having, you can get me at 541-267-2124. Once again, that's 541-267-2124. A lot of times we have guests on the show and we can't take calls because we have a little bit of an antiquated system where we only have one line to the studio. And if that line is being taken up by a guest, then we can't have call-ins to ask the guest questions. But hopefully we'll remedy that situation down the road. I want to tell you about the Hole in the Wall, one of my sponsors. I talked to Ken today and I asked him if he still had some Cannon Fuse for sale. And you wouldn't believe how many people are in need of Cannon Fuse. Well, premium Cannon Fuse is now in stock. It has a 24-second burn rate, and it is selling for 50 cents a square foot. 50 cents per foot. That's a Cannon and Dynamite are not included. Still. So if you need some Cannon Fuse, premium Cannon Fuse, get on over to Hole in the Wall, and he can take care of you. Heck, if you ask him politely, he might be able to get you some of the Cannon Dynamite. Who knows? One of the things I did last week was I attended a trial. I was mentioning to Trevor Loudon the first hour about how we went to Columbia to file the Second Amendment Sanctuary Ordinance. Last year, the voters of that county passed the Second Amendment Preservation Ordinance, and the county clerk accepted it for circulation. So we don't know why she denied it. Well, we know why, but we can't understand the legitimate reason why they denied it. But they denied the Second Amendment Sanctuary Ordinance, which was filed a couple of months ago in Columbia County. And so it's in the court system because they're saying that there's 3 reasons that it cannot circulate as an initiative. One, it doesn't have full text, and our attorney has argued that in court and has done successful. They have said that it covers more than one subject. It has to be single subject in it's the way it's written. And of course, it only gives one directive, so it is a single subject issue. And the other thing is it has to be legislative, not administrative in its nature. And because it's giving an order directly to the government to enforce an ordinance, automatically it's legislative. So I went to court Tuesday of last week. Immediately after the show, I took off to Columbia County, and it was in St. Helens, which is the county seat. And what a beautiful place that is. St. Helens Mountain is up there, and it was covered with snow. Beautiful scenery. But the trial the next day, which was on Tuesday of last week, our attorney, who is Tyler Smith, did an incredible job of beating up the county's attorney and all of their lame excuses why they would not allow our ordinance to be filed as an initiative. And of course, they submitted more evidence. And the reason they do that is because they know it's very costly for our organization to have an attorney down there because he charges by the hour. So they introduced new evidence that they say will show that the law is going to repeal certain ordinances in their county, which makes it a second subject because it creates the directive and then it repeals certain laws. And what they're saying is that if it does not allow the enforcement of state or federal laws, then by that definition, it's repealing those laws. And of course, our argument of our attorney is that no county can repeal state or federal laws. They could just choose not to uphold them. And so that's where the dig is right now in court, and they're battling that out. And it was really neat to watch this battle out in the trial, because it's something that when you're passing new ordinance, you want to make sure that that measure is legally able to resist the challenge as much as possible. And that's what we're trying to do right now. And when we get out of that court, which should happen next week, the judge is going to make his decision. I've got about 10 to 15 counties, chief petitioners in 10 or 15 counties, who are going to file that as an initiative. And we're going to start our campaign Sasso 2020. And we're going to try to get as many counties to put that measure on the ballot. And from what I hear, there's a lot of sheriffs who are real happy about this, because a lot of the sheriffs do not want to enforce many of the laws that are being passed by our legislature. So this is what we're doing on a local level, and this is how you fight back against these types of actions. Most people, they think that we're a bunch of gun-toting, knuckle-dragging thugs. But that could be hardly from the fact. We are going to do everything we can to try to use the system to our benefit. As a free country, we've got a lot of alternatives out there, and we haven't exhausted all of the remedies that we have to fight against this socialist takeover of our country. And I hope you people out there who are listening understand the reason I have so many people on the show who are activists is because I'm trying to encourage many of you out there to become activists. That's why I was talking about this new fee that was being charged by the city of Coos Bay. If just one person in Coos Bay out there would step forward and say, look, I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm not going to take it, and file a form with the city elections office and file the petition and get it certified, they could be out gathering signatures by noon tomorrow. That's how fast it could take. And hopefully you'd get enough signatures to put it on the ballot, because I think if you ask the citizens of Coos Bay if they want to pay another tax, they'd say, hell no. We're tired of being taxed. We're way overtaxed. And it's not that they don't have enough money. It's just that they're not using it properly. And that goes for every city. Right now, we have the city of Bandon who's trying to shove that pool down our throat, and they just did a survey on the pool. Well, who's going to count those survey questions? Mary Shamhorn, the mayor of Bandon? Well, we know she's a liar, so I wouldn't trust her counting those results. Are we going to trust the city council, who some of them support the pool and have already showed their partisanship? I wouldn't trust any of them. So this is the thing that I'm talking about, is that we need to be active. We need to be proactive. And so when the city gets that survey, I don't care what the results are. They don't really matter to me, because it's not a legitimate vote. And you want to hear the dirty trick I just played on the city? I just filed a public records request for all the surveys that you citizens of Bandon just turned in. You know, the one where you just put down your address and then told us how you voted? Well, I just made a public records request for that. And when the city gets that to me, I'm going to post it so everyone can see it on my website, just to prove the point that the city has put you in liability. And how they put you at liability? Well, now your neighbors know what you believe about the pool, and you may not have wanted them to know that. That's why we have a secret ballot. That's why the city, instead of going through this survey on our utility bill, they should have gone through another election if this is what they really wanted to do. And they should have gone through a valid election where the county clerk counts the results. Not the city officials who have, showed their hand and are supporting many of these pool pushers. So I hope that all of you in Bandon are ready for that, because, the city just put you at a liability. And I'm going to show you their mistake by posting that on my website. And it looks like we're at the bottom of the hour. And when we get back, I want to talk a little bit more about the SASO, the Second Amendment Sanctuary Ordinance, and where we're going from there with that measure. And with that, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Rich Waters for Jim Vick Auto Sales. For those of you that know me, you know that my family and I have dealt with Jim Vick for more years than we'd like to admit. I've always known Jim as a look you in the eye and deal on a handshake kind of guy. You may have heard that Jim retired recently, but I'm here to set the record straight. Jim is still selling great-looking, clean, exclusive cars at his new location just down the street from his former location. He's now at 2091 Broadway, and he keeps a display of his best cars right there for you to see and drive. Let my friend Jim Vick put you in the right car on your budget. Jim Vick Auto Sales, now at 2091 Broadway in North Bend. Jim will work with you all the way to make sure you have the car and the deal you want. As Jim Vick himself would say, wait a minute. Here he is to say it himself.
Remember, if I can't save you money, I don't deserve your business.
Jim Vick Auto Sales.
In just a fast few minutes from right now, you can have life insurance for up to $500,000 without taking a medical exam and without leaving your home. We're Fast Life, and we're going to make this easy and fast. Odds are that you don't have enough insurance, or you're paying way too much for what you got, or you don't have any, and that's not good. Listen, nobody likes to think about life insurance, but we're grown-ups now, so call and protect your family. 1-800-254-9567, or go to fastlife.life. You've got insurance? That's great, but you may be able to get more coverage and pay less than what you're paying now. And with no medical exam, you can get it right over the phone, and that's fast. Faster than a speeding bullet? No, but fast. And we also said we make it easy. So call and get quotes, then submit an application over the phone, and that's it. And that's easy. Get approved, and coverage starts instantly. And that's fast. Faster than the speed of light? No, but fast. Call 1-800-254-9567 or go to fastlife.life. Fastlife.life. It's revolutionary. It's Fast Life.
If you run your own business, when you're not on the job, you're on the road. In your van. Signs that say detour and do not enter are just plain bad for business. Well, here's a sign that's great for business. It says 0% financing and up to 2 years complimentary scheduled maintenance on Mercedes-Benz Sprinter or Metris vans. Powerful, capable, and affordable. That's Mercedes-Benz Van Power. With pioneering safety technologies and low total cost of ownership, Mercedes-Benz vans are the right choice for your business. Check out the full lineup of Mercedes-Benz vans starting at just $25,995. 0% financing and up to 2 years complimentary scheduled maintenance. That's van power for all. Mercedes-Benz Vans. Born to run.
Starting ad price refers to base model Metris worker cargo van. Excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep fee. Please see your dealer or go to mvvans.com for further details and exclusions.
Are your medical bills piling up due to cancer or another serious illness? You are not alone. Many people face this challenge. Here's how Coventry Direct can help. You can receive an immediate cash payment by selling your life insurance policy. If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may be eligible to sell your policy, even a term policy. To find out if you qualify, call Coventry Direct today at 1-800-510-2800 to speak to one of our policy specialists. That's 1-800-510-2800. The cash you receive from selling your policy can be used to help pay medical bills or whatever you choose to give you financial security and peace of mind. Call Coventry Direct at 1-800-510-2800 or visit us at coventrydirect.com. Coventry Direct, giving you the cash you need when you need it most. Coventry Direct is a marketing company and will refer qualified policies to a licensed entity.
For 20 years, the Oregon Firearms Federation has been Oregon's only no-compromise voice for gun rights. While other organizations who claim to speak for gun owners made deals to bargain away your liberty and property, often stood face-to-face with the gun grabbers in Salem to protect your rights. But there's never been a more dangerous time to be a gun owner in Oregon, and we need your help. To become part of the fight for Second Amendment rights and to sign up for free legislative alerts, please visit our website at OregonFirearms.org. That's OregonFirearms.org.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, Coos County, thank you for joining me. I think I'm going to shorten that name to the Taylor Report. Maybe the Rob Report, I don't know. But Rob Taylor seems to be, sure, it takes a lot of time to say that. In radio, that's forever, just a few seconds. I hope you all heard the Oregon Firearm Federation commercial, and please give generously if you can, because they're the ones who are fighting all the tyrannical gun laws that are coming out of Salem, and one of the few no-compromise gun organizations in the state. And joining me right now, I have Tim from Tommy Gigs. Tim, you with me?
I am, and I'm packing one on each side, brother.
Good deal.
Yeah, that's it. We promote it. We like to see coming in with people with open carry, man. It's awesome. Exercise your rights.
You know, that's what was nice about going up to Salem is all those people walking around with open carry. I never felt safer in my life, and neither did the police.
Boy, you almost think you're in a different country.
Yeah.
Wow, man, that's awesome. Well, we just gotta, like I say, gotta keep beating these people.
Yeah.
You know, and consequences and accountability for their actions as well. People that are in a position of power where they've been actually elected and took an oath of office. I don't see them. I see total violation or oath. They apparently don't know what that oath means, right? So, I mean, how can you actually violate everybody's rights and say you're going to ban their guns and all this kind of crap? Well, where they have no authority and law to do that, they can't violate their oath, and they should be held accountable for that. Why aren't they in court facing the music like everybody else has to when they violate the law?
I always question that. Why is it that they can do all the things that they do that is clearly unconstitutional, and yet they don't suffer any consequences for that?
Yeah, apparently this isn't a Republican form of government where we're the kings and queens upon the land. We elected them. They're accountable to us, but yet they're not, and we're accountable. If you spit on the sidewalk, you're going to go to jail.
Right.
I mean, this is ridiculous. So, the problem is you won't have any lawyer, or liar or attorney represent you in court fully and fairly, because he's not going to want to get a black eye against him because he's part of the bar. So
right.
They're all part of the criminal organization that unless you have the ability to do it yourself and the time and money, those people are just going to keep skating, and it's just sad. Very, very sad. So, hopefully it doesn't come to a physical civil war. Hopefully we can do it at the ballot box and not with the bullet box. But,
man, I'm hoping. But, every day or every week that I do this show,
yeah,
someone seems to call in, and we're all under the impression that we're just on the outskirts of going into all-out revolution. You know what I'm saying?
That's what they want. They want to preach tolerance and civility, but yet they will not tolerate and have civility. They don't. They force other people not to be. So I'm having to tolerate something. So you're apparently doing it to bother me, and why? Leave me the heck alone.
Right.
Leave me and my guns alone. And if we're going to attach guns, then we might as well put knives and hatchets and chainsaws and cars and everything else on that endangered rights list, because those kill people too pretty well, as far as I know.
Did you hear about that guy who killed his neighbor with kindness?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, he took his machete and he wrote the word kindness on it and hacked up his neighbor. That's a true story.
When it's nonsense and makes no sense, then that's when people got to be going, wow, we've got to get these people out. There was a guy, and I hate to go on, but it's a talk show, so I guess I can talk a little bit. But
go for it.
This Jeff Snyder, he's an attorney from New York, Second Amendment advocate, and author of the Cato Institute. A researcher, he says, to ban guns because criminals use them is to tell the innocent law-abiding that their rights and liberties depend not on their own conduct, but on the conduct of the guilty and lawless, and that the law will permit them to have only such rights and liberties the lawless will allow. That's exactly. So there's one or two nutballs out there that do something, then we're all guilty, and all rights taken away because of one or two idiots.
Right.
So, how does that work? That doesn't make no sense. So, like I say, I wouldn't want to be the first person to come to anybody's door and saying, I got to have all your guns. That's probably not going to be a good day for somebody.
Right.
I just don't see people doing that. It's not going to comply. I mean, look at other countries now that are complying, and what do they have? They have complete, rapes and robbery and everything are up in those countries that, now stabbings are up. So,
yeah.
Next is knives,
and they're not reporting that in our country, but that is true. Every country that has disarmed their citizen population has had an increase in all domestic and property crimes.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, in your case, Rob, your hands are your weapons, so I don't know how they're going to do that, man.
Yeah.
You're quite skilled, so.
Skilled at picking my nose. So what's going on down at Tommy Gigs?
A lot, man. Well, a lot. We're doing a lot of stuff. We're getting new products in here. Rough Country Suspension, who we're involved with now pretty good. They've got very real nice kits. And it's affordable. They're filling a void where from the really expensive to the really economical stuff, they're right in the middle. Good quality stuff, good warranty. Everything fits good, works good. From their lift kits to just shocks in general. Nice high quality stuff without having to break the bank. And same way with the lights and stuff. We've got 3 or 4 different grades of lights now and LEDs from Vision X to Rigid to CSI. A lot of companies are coming out with some really nice stuff that's affordable. And, for backup lights and stuff, if you're getting ready to tow your trailer or whatever it might be at night, it's nice to have some light back there. And Austin, he's been doing a ton of these, and it's just people put those lights on at night and they go, holy moly, how did I ever do this before? So it's really some cool stuff. We come down and check that out. And, of course, we got a showroom. We're getting more stuff all the time, from the running boards and the Nerf bars and electronic steps to the things for the transmissions and all that stuff to help keep them cool, because summertime, the heat comes and heat's what kills things. And if you can keep that transmission cooler, that's going to make it live longer. And if you just need a general service on your tranny or rear end or transfer case, whatever it might be, engine oil changes, those sort of things, we do all that stuff. So, give us a call, bedliner, whatever. It's real easy to find us down here at 135 South Shoneman in Coos Bay, just 1 block past the Boom and Y, right behind the car wash. And the phone number 541-888-4660. And I appreciate talking to you, and awesome on the show. And
thank you very much.
And just keep up good work. Keep calling in, people. Voice your opinion. Don't be afraid. Speak up.
Don't be afraid. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it.
You guys are awesome. Thank you. We'll talk to you next week.
Cool. And that was Tim from Tom and Gigs. Right now would be a good time if you're having any problems with your car to get on over there, because I know if you're driving on those Coos Bay roads, you've probably got shock problems. Yeah, those struts are going. The tires are going. Yep, you bet it. I've got Roger on the line with me. Roger, you there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was driving through town dodging the potholes when I heard your comment about the potholes, and I thought, well, I guess I could chime in on the potholes. But, yeah, it's amazing how they keep adding these little fees on. And, of course, the problem is if they would actually use the money to fix the potholes, but what these bureaucrats are good at doing, they reallocate, or another term for just stealing the money.
Right.
They come in, they raise this money, and then, oh, guess what? We got to put in another sign or another park bench somewhere.
Do you live in Coos Bay?
Yep.
Yeah, so you're going to have to pay this fee from here on out, huh?
Oh, yeah, and you know what's sad? When I first got my house over here in the Empire area, it was $1,200 a year property taxes.
Uh-huh.
Now it's like $2,100.
Oh, wow. How long ago was that? How long did it take to get that high?
99, so it's gone up that much in those few years. In 20 years, it's gone up $1,000.
You know, my property in New Mexico, and I just got the property because I had to remove the mobile home because they were vandalizing it. And so all I got's the property out there, and the property has increased $2-3 in the 25 years that we've owned that piece of property.
Yeah, well, it's like the school bond they shove down our throat and everything else. They just keep jacking up everything. But I basically wanted to comment about what the main problem is getting these petitions signed, etc. Like you said, most people that rent are ignorant about how this works, so they figure, well, it's not coming out of my pocket. And, of course, a lot of the renters, their rent's being paid for by a low income or whatever, so they could care less even. Then you have someone like me who's 67 years old with a bad back and arthritis. There's no way I can stand out on a sidewalk to get petitions signed all day in the cold weather.
Right.
So the trick is getting people involved. Now, a lot of the seniors and people that are retired here from other areas that have good money from PERS, et cetera, that are making $3,000 to $8,000 a month, what's another $10 to them?
Right.
So they don't really care. Now, I'm living on like $1,500, $1,600 a month. I had to take out a reverse mortgage loan just so I could pay my increase in taxes and bonds. They don't care.
Excuse me. Did you just say that you had to take out a reverse loan to pay for the increase in your taxes? Is that a recent thing?
Well, yeah, because I was living on about $1,200 a month. That was my basic, like, Social Security. And, of course, I had to file for disability, so I couldn't work. So the big dilemma was at some point, in order to have enough to do anything but just live on Rice Krispies, I took out a reverse mortgage. So that gives me another $400 a month.
Right.
And out of that $400, over half of it goes towards increases in taxes that have gone up.
Incredible. That's just incredibly depressing is what that is,
It is.
Roger.
And, the sad thing is, like you said, these bureaucrats have no problem squandering and wasting money on park benches and signs. Welcome to Coos Bay. Well, it's great, except as you're looking at the sign, you're hitting a pothole and ripping your tires off.
And that's no lie. I mean, I drove to the doctor's office, the road to the hospital, and it was like every 50 feet there was a pothole the size of China.
You've seen the meme that people have sent out from Facebook about the potholes, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
That's it. I mean, basically, I'm sure that the police realize that if you're driving down the road like you're drunk, it's just you're trying to miss the potholes. I got a brand new Mustang that I bought a couple years ago, and my dad passed away and left me a little bit of money, and it sits out in the garage because the roads are too bad to even drive on it. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, and they're not going to get any better. Roger, I thank you for calling me.
You know why that they put this on the utilities? Because the reason why most of the roads are going bad here, because the sewers are caving in, and that's what's causing all these sinkholes. I've got one out in front of my house that I'm pretty sure the sewer pipe down below in the ground is caving in, and that's allowing it to just go deeper and deeper. So unless they fix a lot of these sewer lines, fixing the potholes isn't going to work. But what amazes me, I saw a special on the news a couple weeks ago out of Portland about how they fix their potholes. And as incompetent as they are, they actually know how to fix them.
Oh, interesting. Hey, did you see where they're going to take urban renewal money and pay for a retaining wall over there by Empire, where they're at the Hollerin place, where the Confederate tribe is building that new hotel? Did you see that?
No, I missed that one.
Oh,
man.
And
keep up on all this stuff.
But that's another thing that they're wasting money on. I mean, to me, if the Indian tribe, if they want to develop something, I'm all for development, but pay for it yourself. Why do the citizens of Coos Bay have to pay for it?
Well, it's like, why should we pay to have sidewalks and street lights put in way over on the sand dunes?
Yeah. Well, Roger,
the bottom line is bureaucrats do one thing good. That's they steal from one group and usually put in their own pocket.
Yeah. Well, thank you for calling, man. I got to get going here.
All right. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Not a problem. And for those of you who usually join me for this time of the hour, it's that contest time again at Lucky Star, best Chinese restaurant in the entire county. I have to give them credit for that. Love their sesame seed chicken. I heard they've got steak over there that's to die for. I'll have to try sometime. But if you want to win their house special, which includes barbecue pork, sweet and sour pork, fried shrimp, spring roll, and pork fried rice, and pork chow mein, all you have to do is be the third caller at 541-267-2124. And after this break, we'll have some food for thought with our emperor, Jim Bice.
Well, I was driving across town when my car got down, started lurching and trying to die. Well, luckily there was a shop, and when it struggled to a stop, a nice fella met me right outside. I said, man, something's wrong. What the heck is going on? He said, I tell you this, I got no doubt. You just relax and don't you worry. We can fix it in a hurry, because your car is what we're all about. We do it all.
Bayshore Auto and RV Repair, your one-stop shop for all your automotive and RV mechanical repairs. Stop by and see Jeff and his friendly staff on Bayshore Drive in Coos Bay.
Looking for a new or used firearm? You should get to know the friendly folks at World Pawn Exchange. Located at 1980 Sherman in downtown North Bend, World Pawn Exchange buys, sells, and trades firearms of all types. And with their extensive, ever-changing inventory, they could have just the right firearm for you. If they don't have that gun that you want in stock, they'll be more than happy to special order it for you. World Pawn Exchange in downtown North Bend, where you'll find more than you can possibly imagine.
The clear leader, Herbal Choices. Join the Herbal Choices happy family for best selection. 100 strains, always fresh. Unlike stores that always have the same old products, there's always something new at Herbal Choices. 100 strains and growing. And check Jim Belushi's new harvest. Just in again and better than ever at Herbal Choices. Coos Bay, Charleston, and Bandon. And online at theherbalchoices.com.
Hey, Jim Belushi here. Herbal Choices on the southern Oregon coast is where you can find my new harvest. Belushi's Private Bulk. Check it out.
And reasons are clear. With 100 strains, Herbal Choices sells so much product that everything is always fresh, and there seems to be something new every time I see my Herbal Choices happy family. All our friends agree. The clear winner is Herbal Choices, the only choice.
Check it out. It's the only choice.
Do not operate a vehicle under the influence of marijuana. For use by people 21 and older, keep out of the reach of children.
And now, here's some food for thought from Jim Bice.
I've compiled a short list of some of the things that Democrats want to inflict on the American people should they win the White House in 2020. First, they want to destroy the Electoral College. They seem to have forgotten that were it not for the Electoral College, Abraham Lincoln would never have been president, and the Emancipation Proclamation might never have been signed. Of course, if we destroy the Electoral College, voters in the states of New York, Florida, Illinois, California, Texas, and Pennsylvania will determine the presidency. The rest of us need not even vote. And then they want to lower the voting age to 16. They don't think 16-year-olds are mature enough to buy tobacco or alcohol, serve in the military, purchase firearms, or make a legal contract, but they are mature enough to vote. Does that really make sense to anyone? They want to change the Supreme Court from 9 to 15 justices, then pack it and the lower courts with liberal activists. Since most Democrat policies are unpopular with the people, they rely on activist courts to enact new laws for them. They've said they want to open the borders to anyone who wants to come here, and then all these people invade our country. The Democrats want to allow them to vote. Great way to ensure a Democrat voting majority at the expense of national sovereignty and the American people. Another of their stated goals is to disarm the American people. This portion of their agenda is already underway. In order to inflict their agendas of high unemployment, lower wages, higher crime rates, higher taxes, higher energy costs, fewer individual freedoms, and rampant political correctness, they must get firearms out of the hands of the American people. They're smart enough to know that we, the people, won't accept their grandiose version of Venezuela without significant resistance. Since criminals, terrorists, and wackos don't obey their restrictive laws anyway, the only thing accomplished by Democrat efforts at gun control is to infringe on the rights and freedoms of law-abiding people. In other words, they want to punish the victims. Is that truly evil or what? All this nonsense and more is being proposed by various Democrats, including our own Ron Wyden, Jeff Merkley, and little Peter DeFazio. Many of the Democrats in Salem are also on board with this crap. Is it any wonder that the total agenda in Salem is to find new and exciting ways to raise our taxes, limit our freedoms, and use the power of the state to smash us into compliance with their politically correct version of utopia? Constitution, individual rights, and common sense be damned. Just some food for thought.
We're back in session. It's the Rob Taylor Report. And here he is, Rob Taylor.
Hey, Coos County, thank you for joining us. And that was Jim in a can, I guess you can call that. But that was great stuff there. I like having him with his precise and succinct analysis of what's going on in the country. And sometimes right here in Coos County. And I want to thank Nancy for winning our contest. We appreciate that. I got a really sad announcement. Many of you know that one of the people who was very instrumental in passing the Second Amendment Preservation Ordinance was a gentleman by the name of Tom McCurgan. Tom McCurgan's a good friend of mine. In fact, I just saw him this past Saturday at the gun rally, and we talked for a few minutes. I didn't know he was going to go up there, but we did get a chance to talk, and I had told him that Joey Gibson was up there from Patriot Prayer, and he wanted to meet Joey, and I was glad I got to introduce him, because on Sunday morning, Tom has passed away. He passed away of a heart attack, a suspected heart attack, as they couldn't resuscitate him. And so I want to send out my condolences to Tom's family, his daughter, his step grandchild, his significant other, Teresa, and I want to give them my condolences. Tom is someone who he lived what he preached, meaning that not only did he sit there and tell you about how he believes in your gun rights, how he believes in your Fourth Amendment rights, he fights for them. In fact, I always loved taking Tom to the meeting because he was one of the few people who didn't mind dishing it out. And I remember several times he got into it with our commissioners, Commissioners Cribbins and Commissioner Sweet. They called Tom, they had a nice little name for Tom too. They didn't really appreciate him because he would go to the commissioners meeting and he'd hold their feet to the fire and he would challenge them. In fact, one meeting, I remember we had Jeff Cruz and Wayne Krieger there, and we were trying to get their support for the measure against the sections 1022 and 1021 of the National Defense Act. And of course, Krieger and Cruz, they weren't in touch with that. They were old school Republicans, almost to the point of being establishment. So they really didn't seem to care about what Tom was trying to tell them. And Tom got angry at him and yelled at him to the point where some people got a little upset at Tom. And I'll tell you what, Tom was doing the right thing. He should have yelled at him. They deserved it. And I wish I had more Tom McCurgans out there. People who just don't talk the talk, but walk the walk. He was willing to go to these rallies. He was willing to travel all over the state to try to get other counties to pass the Second Amendment Preservation Ordinance. He was instrumental in having the commissioners in Douglas County put the Second Amendment Preservation Ordinance on the ballot. And of course, there were other people in the county who took credit for it, but it was Tom. And the reason I know this is because I worked with Tom on it. And I'm going to miss him because he was a good friend. You know, I could always know that I could call up Tom and ask him about somebody and he could give me the right scoop on him. I always knew that if I needed something done or a task achieved, that I could call up and have Tom do it. He was very instrumental in organizing for the 3 percenters. At one point, he had the group Oath Keepers going in this county. Of course, organizing is very difficult. There's very little reward. And of course, everyone criticizes you. But Tom held out. Tom held through and he held strong, and I'm going to miss him. Because like I said, we don't have a lot of patriots out there. And the nice thing when I went to this rally on Saturday, the rally in Salem, there was a lot of young people out there. And I hope they were listening. I hope they were listening real good. In fact, I hope there's a lot of young people out there who can hear the sound of my voice. They're getting ready to destroy your way of life. Now, for me, I'm in my mid-50s. By the time they completely destroy this country, I'll be eating, cream of wheat and sitting in my own waste. Luckily, if I'm with any luck, I'll have a nice wet nurse to take care of me. But the fact is you kids out there, you've got a long way to go. A long way to go. And they're changing your way of life. And you got to be braver than going with the crowd. You know, it's easy to go along with the schools when they try to promote this socialist ideology. You know, when they try to get you kids to get out of the schools and protesting in the streets to have your rights taken away from you. What an insidious thing. And by the way, we know the schools did it because they're suing Portland right now for having the children come out and encouraging them to walk out of the school to do a protest against their own Second Amendment rights. Boy, that's the kind of stuff that used to infuriate Tom. So Tom McCurgan, I know you're listening to me. I know you're up there and you're watching us. Don't worry, pal, because I think this country will come through. And why? Because we had a man like you to lead the way. And I hope the rest of you out there are watching, are listening, and are learning. Because I'm not going to be able to save anyone. I can barely save myself. It may be you who's going to do the saving. And the only way you can do that is by getting active. So if you're listening, Tom McCurgan, I love you, bud. And I'm going to miss you. And I hope all the rest of you understand what's going on in this country. But until then, and until next week, carry on, Coos County. Carry on.